it means anything to you, that number 5 Bunker Hill well's on the same lead for power, and that's on their criteria list to get hooked back up quick. So that loop should be the first one to go back in.
Alright.
When they get down,
Really?
probably some white there or someplace.
We've got the generator and everything.
Well,
Well,
over the state.
Oh,
yeah, I just went down the shop, both of them say they're running. But the light, and then which tells me the world, so everything went good. Jennifer, when you gonna have the bathhouse done by?
We're gonna be extending it to the end of June, because we're waiting on the floating docks.
Looks like a new bathhouse.
It doesn't, the contract in general. The bathhouse has to be done.
Last Saturday in April, I gotta be able to turn the furnace and the water on. And water.
Yep, he knows. I was just emailing, he's supposed to give me a schedule.
Sam, do we still have that 2-inch PVC line running under the road at the park?
Pardon?
At the park,
Back of the hill, yes.
okay, and that's still functioning, right?
Yes.
So we could run a Cat 5 line from the pavilion back into the bathroom, right?
You want the who?
Okay, that's all I need, 2-inch line, we do.
Communication.
If we wanted to put cameras up at the pavilion, we got a 2-inch,
We got a 2-inch PVC pipe that goes under the road.
yeah,
Is that, if that's what you're asking?
yep, all right. I thought it was still
I
there,
thought he was talking about water.
To me, this is what I like.
no.
Larry, did you talk to Dan Leonard at all?
Last week, we were supposed to have a meeting last Wednesday when it snowed, so we canceled it. So, and I'm hoping next week we can have a meeting, but I haven't heard from them. So I'll call the meeting to order. I'll rise for the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Chapman?
Here.
Clark? Here. Patton?
Here.
Tyler?
Yep.
Zelnok? Here. Eckert?
Yes. No additions or corrections to the agenda. So I need a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make, make a motion to approve the agenda as I'll support.
Been moved and supported. All in favor of the vote, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion is carried. Approval of the minutes of February 8th public hearing.
We could just add Village of Central Lake to the top of that, so we know who it is, that'd be good. I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll support.
Been moved and supported. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Opposed, motion is carried. Approval of the minutes of the last general meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the Wednesday, February 18th minutes.
Been moved and support. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion has carried. Okay. Any public comment? Reports, Scott.
Thank you. Really quick, actually.
things are starting to pick up for us. You'll see we spent a little bit extra time on patrol. Finally got most of the computer issues switched over. Bill Drollinger from Bel Air was very, very, very helpful. It cost us $20 for a contract fee from doing our report system over, so the whole transition thing only cost like $20. Melissa came in and helped quite a bit too, so. So pretty much I'm ready to go. And that's about it.
I have one question.
Go ahead.
You have 35 stops, but 39 warnings.
Sometimes you make a stop and give multiple warnings. So I pull you over for speeding, but then you don't have your registration with you, so that could have you be tagged as 2 warnings. So that's kind of how, there may be a little bit difference between the number of stops and number of warnings, so.
Okay. Anybody else have anything for Scott?
The 911 check 14, is that phone gonna get fixed?
Well, the problem we have is most time, like villages or cities have ordinances that if you get called there too many times, we could actually go back and charge that person. Nothing's really motivating her to get it fixed. She keeps, it's an older lady and I feel sorry for her. We're not getting a lot of the calls, the county is, they're getting multiple calls all the time for that house. And unfortunately, you can't say, well, we've been there enough, we're not going anymore, because you have to go every single time. But some cities and villages have ordinances where they can actually go back and charge. That really motivates people to get the problem solved. Her claim is that she's calling her phone provider, they were saying it's somebody else's problem, and no one's really getting anything done. She's actually pretty mad at us for showing up all the time, but I tried to explain to her, I have to, you know. So I think Don showed up a couple times, and most of the time it was just the county. The county doesn't even have an ordinance either that addresses that, so I did contact a family member last week and said, hey, is there somewhere you can get down there and maybe try to switch a phone around and stuff like that, so.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Thank you, Scott. Sam?
You all should have a copy of the DPW report. Number 1 and number 2 on there, you can mark them off as being done, they've been sent to the DEQ. Number 3, still working on it with all the water samples. It's gonna take me quite a while to get that done, and then once I get all that coordinated in my office, I'm gonna get a hold of Maggie and see if she'll come and help me do the rest of the report. Number 11 on there, the plow truck. Last month I told you that oil cooler went out of it, that transmission cooler, and I think I quoted you guys about $3,300 for repairs. Well, it come back a little bit less. Total bill was $29,1585, and then replaced 2 banner arms. The banners on the light poles, the delivery trucks pull out with their doors open, and they hit them. So what we do is, and I think it was like $47 for a banner pole. So what we do is we take a 3/4 inch galvanized coupling, 3/4 inch galvanized T, cut it in half, thread a piece of 3/4 inch galvanized pipe in with a cap, and then we paint it black, and nobody knows how many are out there, so you wouldn't have known it if I wouldn't have told you. That's what we've been doing. And number 15, we went over the water monitoring schedule with the DEQ, of course, and Larry got a copy of the new one. And there's 37 more samples this year than what we took last year. So it's gonna put us somewhere in the range of right around 150 samples per calendar year. So the cost is gonna be quite high.
How much does one cost?
Anywhere from $16 to $126.
Why such an increase?
Because of lead and fluid.
Lead and copper sampling, water quality sampling, it's unbelievable on the water samples this year.
Wow.
That's about, not quite every other day.
Pardon?
That's not quite every other day.
Well, the way they break them down, yeah. You gotta remember how they break water samples down. You gotta do 20 lead and copper samples in the first 6 months. You gotta do 20 lead and copper samples in the second 6 months, anywhere in between them 6-month periods. And then water quality samples have to be taken 24 hours apart. When you go to your well house and your distribution, take 5 of them, 24, you can't take the next one until 24 hours has expired. So then you gotta go back the next day, and that's why it takes so long to do these water samples. And it's a paper trail, unbelievable. And then at the end of the year, as Jennifer knows, comes what they call a CCR, Consumer Confidence Report. Now you have to collect all that data, get it all out in front of you, go back in and edit everything. And each year they keep changing that. So you keep adding more to it. Any questions?
So the 25-cent raise for the water rates, is that gonna cover the cost of the additional testing? Is that,
No.
so should we start bracing for an increased water rate since we're doing more testing? The funding has to come from somewhere.
I say wait until we close out this budget right here and we get to, because Rachel broke everything down.
Okay,
Because water sampling got so expensive last year, we physically went in and broke everything down, and now once she gets it cleared out, she's gonna come back to me with new numbers. That's why we budgeted more money in the water budget for water sampling only
okay.
this year. So we could get a good true number on that cost.
Anybody have anything else to say? You've opened up the camping bathrooms,
We did for the fishing tournament, Larry.
and then shut them down?
Then we closed them right back up, yeah.
Okay. Do we have bids back from the water main replacement stuff? Are there bids back from the water main replacement?
No, bid opening is March 29th, because we have to have bids publicly advertised and posted for a minimum of 25 days. So it will be March 29th here at 11, I believe.
Corey said he didn't have a DDA report. The meeting was canceled last week because of the inclement weather. Correspondence, there is, and I think everybody received a copy of this. March 13th or 14th, there's 2 trainings, both the same, down at the county building, regarding emergency management procedures. If anybody is interested, you need to pre-register, but there is no cost. So I'm gonna try to make one of those 2 days myself, but I won't make that decision until tomorrow.
To register, you go online.
I'm sorry?
To register, you go online.
Yeah, I think so.
No, I'm letting you know that's what you do.
And it seemed like there was a couple of others hanging on this one. We did get a letter from the attorney for Mr. Terry Moon, and Sam has responded to that. I don't know if everybody got a copy of that or not. I
Yes,
think
we
so.
did.
Yeah, they did. You did, so. I believe that was all the correspondence at this point in time.
The question that I have on the letter from Mr. Ferguson, it says, your recent work has jeopardized his efforts. Well, that work that was done out front last year was through MDOT, not through the village.
Right.
Correct.
So why do they keep corresponding with us over the road when it wasn't, nothing to do with us?
I don't know why that statement was put into that letter that we received, Brian, but that letter did say about a water terminal.
Sure, sure. And you responded back very well to Mr. Ferguson.
And a copy will be going to Mr. Moon. Okay, there was one other correspondence from Mike LeBeau regarding the sidewalks across the bridge. Now that the snow is gone, it's a moot point for this year, but something we might want to consider next year is to keep one side or the other open on that bridge.
Can I jump in real quick, Larry?
Yeah.
The Kubota tractor will not go across the bridge. Problem is, you get a little bit of buildup and the tractor slides a little bit, there's that much of a curb. And the big tires on the back, the one tire's already 7/8 of the way off the curb. So if we fall off that bridge, we'll tip that tractor over. That's why we tried to do Walt Bodell's side and keep the other side for snowmobiles once, and we couldn't do it. We slid off with the old Kubota.
Can you take the front end loader and remove it that way?
We can give it a try that way. How's that?
No blower wouldn't work on that?
Not ours.
And I assume everybody got the Central Lake Area Chamber of Commerce schedule of events for 2017. If not, car show is June 10th, parade is July 4th, picnic is August 4th, silent auction is November 4th, and the night is December 6th. Okay, that's all the correspondence. Committee reports, Rob? No, we got an old here. Old format. These aren't the correct.
I can go first, doesn't matter to me.
Streets and sidewalks, that's not here, so. Right. And who had sewer and water? Okay, Leila, that's up to you.
Well, Sam does such a wonderful job, he leaves me speechless. So I have nothing else to report.
Okay. Bill, law enforcement.
Same thing. Scott did such a good job of reporting that I don't have any further to add to it.
Can't use the same answer.
Communication, Melissa,
I
that's.
have really nothing except for waiting to find out who our new board person will be, so the communications committee is full up again.
Okay. Brian, finance.
I can't be bragging them guys up too bad. No, alls I have is under old business, and I'll talk about it then.
Okay. Rob, parks.
In front of you, we put in your mailbox, your packet, we did get the Health Department of Northwest Michigan grant for $13,250. We're gonna go ahead with that. We just had a meeting with Jennifer Hodges from Gordy Fraser. She's gonna assist us with that in terms of putting it out to bid properly and making sure that everything we want to go into that grant is there. That's the first thing. Let's see. Docks, the north docks, they're gonna be put in by Flotation Dock System. I believe all of you got a copy of the schematic of the new docks that are gonna be put in the north end there. Cody Carmichael from Flotation Docks is our contact person there. He doesn't think they're gonna be in until June 1st. That is a week after Memorial Day. Just so everybody knows that. Reason being is they do not have enough fabrication crews to deal with the high volume of docks they're putting in the springtime. So they're gonna come in and do it right. We could have somebody else do it, but then, as I was talking to Jennifer Hodges, you start getting into warranty issues and who do you call if it's not in correctly, if July 4th weekend something happens. So I'd rather wait 2 weeks or a week, that you won't give me a firm answer, and have it done correctly. Waited this long, I think the prudent thing to do at this point would just be to wait. That's the docks. Let's see. Let's see. I had a meeting on February 23rd with Paddle Antrim, and we looked at possible sites for the kayak launch. 3 sites they were looking at were on Old State Road at the north side docks, across from the pavilion, or excuse me, not the pavilion, the gazebo. Another site they were considering was the very north end of the newly constructed boardwalk. And then the third one was next to the boat launch at the park itself. What we did was we physically looked at all three spots. The north end was just too rocky, and the incline down to the water had been too great, been very expensive. The other site at the north end of the boardwalk was too mucky. So again, even though we're at the south end of the park where there is some boat traffic, we've deemed that that's the best place, looking at all things: parking, ease of accessibility, and the ability to put in the small kayak launching station there. This is what they proposed, and we agreed to it at the last minute, last meeting, that we would be willing to help them out with that. This is strictly at the planning stages. Nothing's being put in the water yet. I did talk to the neighbor directly to the south, Maureen Stenbeck, and told her exactly what's happening, and she's okay with the whole thing, even though we're way onto the village property. I just thought it was a courtesy, let her know what's going on. She didn't seem to have a problem with it. That's that. Let's see. There was talk about putting long-term sites at the top of the campground, additional ones. And I put in your packet a piece of paper that looks like that, and I have the actual campground schematic in front of there, so when I start speaking about things, you can look at it for yourself to see where we're at. So if you look down at your page there, sites 29 through 40, those are the long-term sites. And do we really need additional long-term sites? So what I did is I put the occupancy rate next to each one of the sites. So we have an average for the summer of an average of 51.21% occupancy rate at those sites. So does it merit putting additional sites in for upwards of $50,000? At this point, I don't know, but there's a caveat, so just wait. Then I started looking at it even further, and if you look at sites 22, 23, and 24, site 22 gets only 22% occupancy, site 23 gets 15, site 24 only gets 19. For the size, those are the least used sites. So now, and this is totally thinking outside the box, you could couple together site 22 and 20, and you could actually make a larger full-size site there. I'm not advocating it, I'm just saying, if there ever came a time and a place that we wanted to put in larger campers, that would be the place to do it, because site 23 only has 15% occupancy. The one directly to the south of it, site 19, has 40%. So that probably wouldn't be a site, but a possibility. Site 18 has 31. The site to the north of that, site 24, only has 19. So that's just something to think about. Again, we're not doing anything about it. What else do I have to point out there? Site 8, our smallest one with the little tents on it, per square foot, that's our highest generating revenue in the campground. That's at almost 30%, and that's just a little wedge of land. So now, back to 29 through 40. These numbers are a little deceiving because it's actually, they take it over 190 days, from the last weekend in April all the way to the third week in October. But realistically, the camping season is from Memorial Day to Labor Day, only 102 days. So, as I was thinking about this, I should actually go back and redo my numbers to see what the occupancy rate is between Memorial Day to Labor Day, to see what the numbers would reflect more accurately during the traditional camping season. So this whole document is over 190 days. So you've got almost 2 months on the backside that people traditionally don't camp in September, and that third Saturday in October. So that's that. Let's see. Boardwalk and directional signs. You folks in your packet also have this. This is what Faster Signs came up with us preliminarily, and we put both of these at the one at the north docks and one at the newly constructed Boardwalk West docks, and it would have all the streets labeled and then all the businesses underneath it. So that way, most of you don't have it, it's not in your packet? Yeah. So then underneath there, we would have the businesses. So that's what we're considering doing right now. This would be a sign, so when people get off their pontoon boat, they can say, oh, just to the west is this, that, or whatever. If they're looking for, I don't know, oil for their pontoon boat, they know to go there. If they want to get a beer, they can go there. Again, that's in the preliminary stages. Video cameras down at the campground. The Wednesday before the ice fishing tournament, we had 2 cords of firewood stolen from the campground. So there are people that come around there and are opportunistic, and they did leave a bag of trash behind too, by the way. So,
Any names on the inside of the trash?
no, it was just junk. So, with that being in mind, and then I talked to Lyle, and he would like cameras just because he thinks with the new boardwalk there that it'd be an inviting nuisance for kids on bikes and rollerblades and skateboards, and that he would really like to see a video camera there so he doesn't have to be a babysitter for these kids in and around the park. I also talked to Jack, their contractor from TJM Services. He also felt that it'd be a good idea if we're gonna have that boardwalk down there so people aren't carving things in it right away. He says he does more repairs on those docks than anything else. He's seen people start fires on them and have bonfires, things like that. So he thought for the money that it would be something, since we're into this for so much money, that would be a good idea. So I'm gonna actively pursue that, see where we're at on that. Let's see, I think those are all my folders. Directional signs, weapon check. That's it.
Thank you. My report, since the last meeting, we purchased a computer. We ran it through our books. The Historical Society received a donation to buy a new computer, and Rachel and I got online and bought it. They do have a tax-free number, but rather than trying to mess with it, I told them that I would follow through. I'm on the Historical Society board, so I would go out and follow through with this. And Rachel and I did it. They'll write us a check for the purchase. Was $650 roughly. Their donation was $700, so they got a new computer and printer for this.
So someone donated $700 to the village and the village
No.
bought
No, they donated $700 to the Historical Society.
but the village bought the computer for the Historical Society.
Correct. They'll pay us. We just used our tax ID number because it was simpler to make the transaction rather than going through the Historical Society's numbers.
Are we allowed to do that?
I don't know if we were allowed or not, but it made sense to me, so I wasn't gonna push it one way or the other. For less than $700, if somebody complains, then they can fire me, but I thought it was a generous offer to the Historical Society.
Part of our community.
It is, and we do have a relationship with them in that we were their sponsoring entity when they first formed, so that being the case, I did what I did, and like I said, if somebody wants to fire me. The assessor has told me that we should receive about $33,000 more from taxes than what we received a year ago, which is good. And I met with the attorney to ask him several questions. Primarily, the lease that the township has proposed to us, and he graciously bowed out of making any comment because he represents the township as well as the village. And I said that was probably a very smart move on his part. So he asked if I wanted to find another attorney, and I said not at this point in time. So I also asked him about financing. If we are going to pursue a new facility down the road, what financing options do we have? And he said he couldn't tell me without doing some homework. So I kind of wanted to know what's entailed with buying bonds and go that route, because I don't know much about it either. So, and then I asked him again about the opportunity for a council person to serve on another board, and he had nothing new to comment other than the information that he told me about last fall, as well as what has come through since then. So there's going to be more discussion about that a little bit later. And what was it? I think I had 4 things going into that meeting. And I don't, right off the top of my head, I don't recall the last one. But anyway, that's my report. If somebody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer. Oh, there was a 4th thing here. MML, we get a dividend check from them every year. 2016, it was $1,696. This year, it's going to be $1,540. So. And that's it. Unless there's questions. Questions? We have prepaids of $46,988.83, payroll of $7,060.84, payables $24,766.28. Total bills are $78,815.95. I need a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve the bills as presented.
Or
They've been moved and supported to approve the bills for $78,815.95. Roll call vote.
Chapman?
Yes.
Clark?
yes,
Patton?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yep.
Zelnat? Ecker?
Yes. New business. We don't have to make this an action item because the schedule was developed a few years back, and that schedule was approved, and to be on schedule, we're raising our water rates from $24.98 to $25.23. We bumped the budget up, I think Sam said, to cover the cost of things this year as far as the water samples and things of that sort. So this will help, it'll help offset it, but after we do our water main improvements this year that are on the books, we still have about 1,300 feet of water line that needs to be updated and replaced. Most of it's on Lincoln Street. And from my perspective, if we can do it.
Writing it down.
Huh?
She's writing it down.
No, I was writing something else down.
She
I
already-
knew that one.
Money.
she knew that one already.
Yeah.
So I'd like to get that 1,300 feet taken care of, and that would sure leave us in good shape down the road. So, and that's about today's price is about $250,000. Village council person, county commissioner. We have one member of our board who is also a county commissioner. Last fall, I asked Brian Graham if that was legal to do that, and he said as long as the village held no contracts with the commissioners. He saw no problems with it. Since that meeting, I think we had all received a document from the state attorney general that essentially says the same thing, that if there were no contractual obligations between the two entities, there shouldn't be any conflict of interest. However, it's my understanding that, Melissa, you are the individual, and I think there's some confusion out there because there's been a couple of posts on Facebook that said that you were actually leaving.
There was a post when back before election had come about, where I did post that I would be resigning because I thought that there was something that said I had to resign. Since then, and especially since it came back up last month, I've talked to the county people, I've talked to, Larry had mentioned it before the last meeting, I confirmed that we had no contracts with the county. So my intention is to finish my term as elected, and that's that.
So we don't have any, what about snow removal and police?
That snow removal, or that's just triggered my last meeting with the attorney, so I'll come
Okay.
back to that.
All right,
Snow removal, go ahead.
so we're good on snow removal and police?
That's
I don't know.
That's a different one. My understanding that would be the case, because we don't
Okay.
have a contract. They have a contract with the state to keep the state highway open. And then we've got the rest of the road work. in
We
the
got a
village.
contract with them for snow removal,
We do have?
with the Hampshire County Road Commission.
Sure.
Which is not, the road commission and the county are different. I asked Pete Garwood, I point blank asked him, do we have any contracts, and he said no.
I didn't ask Brian Graham that question, but
Well, in Brian's previous email from last year, he said he has no way of knowing what contracts the village has with anybody. So that would need to come out of this office, and if this office doesn't know if it has contracts, then I think we have a bigger problem than me holding two offices.
the, I suppose that I would want to ask him about the road commission. I wasn't aware that Sam actually signed a contract with them, so.
Sam signed a contract with the road commission?
The village of Central Lake signs a contract with the road commission every year for snow removal
Snow
on
removal on
M88,
M88.
curb removal.
We've done that forever.
Okay.
I
25
signed it
bucks.
under the village's name.
No, and we need to further investigate that, if that contract is considered a conflict of interest, I guess, by the attorney. So, do I sign that, or do you sign?
I physically signed it.
Yeah, okay.
I thought the president signs all contracts with anybody.
That's been done for so many years, I don't see why we would have to change protocols, I guess.
I'm the one that I'm the one that supplies the hours for the equipment that we use. I keep all the sheets, that's why I sign it. Bert Thompson sends it to me, I send it back to Bert, Bert sends it to the state. That's the chain of command that's always went.
We've done that forever.
Quite a few years.
County commissioner didn't sign it, but it's Bert Thompson, so it's really, it's a maintenance issue between DPWs of both county and village, so. I don't see where there's any conflict in that regard, as far as mine not signing
We
it,
don't
and
do
Sam
it,
signing it.
we
so.
don't take a vote on anything like that. It's just automatic, we do it, have to, because it has to be done.
Yeah.
She doesn't have, we don't, none of us take a vote on it, neither does the council from the township.
And I would, just based on what I've heard up to this point, I would say that that would not be considered an item that would prevent serving two boards, but there again, we can pursue the question with the attorney to find out, so.
I think it's a mute question, I think. There's no conflict of interest.
Any other questions? Okay, we'll move on. Action items. Mammoth Distilling is applying for a microbrew license to add to their existing small distiller license located at 2407.
I'll make the motion.
And motion has been made to approve.
I'll support.
It's been moved and supported. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion say aye. Opposed? Motion has carried. Budget resolution of number 3 of 2016-17, that's to clean up last year's budget, just making sure that we balance out. So, motion to approve that, you all received a copy.
I'll make that motion.
Been moved and supported, any further discussion? All in favor of the motion say aye. Opposed? Motion is carried.
Larry, Rachel indicated a roll call vote for
I was
that.
gonna say,
Okay, we can do that.
Chapman?
yes.
Clark?
Yes.
Patton?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yep.
Zelnat?
Yes.
Eckert?
Yes. We'll just move it. I was thinking, improve, but we did it. And Woody Frazier would like to get paid for some of the work that they've done. $16,316.87. Anybody have any questions? If you do, Jennifer's here to answer them.
So this has been put out to bid, 4 bids.
Yes, it's been advertised. We're in receipt of all permits with the exception of the land and water management with DEQ for crossing of the creek, and they just needed more money. And bid opening is March 29th. So it's public and you're all welcome to be here. I'll be here, and then we'll be able to compare what our cost estimates were to what we get, so.
Here.
Yes, it's here, and then the intentions are at your April meeting for the council then to approve moving forward.
What time is it, Jan? Jennifer, I'm sorry.
I believe it's at 11, don't quote me.
It's right here, 11, be 11 a.m.
Yeah.
So March 29, 11
You
a.m.
got one?
Yep.
No, I don't. That's what I'm saying, I did compile.
March 29, 11 a.m.
I make the motion, we approve the grant, or the 16,000.
I'll support it.
Been moved and supported to pay Woody Frazier $16,316.87 for services rendered. We're required to do a roll call vote.
Chapman?
Yes.
Clark?
Yes.
Patton?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yep.
Zelnat?
Yes.
Eckert?
Yes. CDBG grant approval. This was another item I talked with the attorney about, and I apologize to Melissa because I said last meeting that the council didn't have to approve our Rising Tide grant, but we do have to approve it. So everybody received a copy of the grant proposal that was submitted.
This,
And
is this the
that is
proposal?
it. That is it. That's what was required by Dan Leonard.
This is the $200,000 grant proposal.
You see how the monies are being spent in that. What more would you like?
This is awesome.
Anybody have any questions?
We got power back.
There you go. Any questions? Yeah, I guess in essence, we are spending money, though we have already agreed in a previous resolution for the 22,200. The rest of it is just designating what we are receiving and proposed, but if we want a roll call vote, I guess we can have one. Won't hurt,
Do you need a motion here?
but we do need a motion, yes.
I'll make that motion.
Motion's made, support by Chapman,
Chapman?
yes.
Clark?
Yes.
Patton?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yep.
Zelnich?
No,
Eckert?
Yes. Motion has passed. I've got one more item under President Report. This is what I couldn't think about. I asked him about the non-essential employees regarding snow days or inclement weather. And it was suggested that we tie it into school closings. He suggested that we do not do that. He suggested that we just handle it like the schools handle it. Superintendent calls the county road commission or whatever in the morning and says, our road's gonna be okay. No, then the message goes out to cancel that. So to develop a policy for us to do that, he said you should define essential employees or non-essential employees, which essential are DPW and police department, non-essential is clerk treasurer. And then the policy would state that deemed on the president's discretion as to the weather, it would determine whether or not Rachel or whoever holds that job should travel to work first thing in the morning, delay coming in, or not coming in entirely. So that was my thing in my report that I couldn't remember, so.
so if you decide that it's closed, does the employee still get paid anyways?
That's something that would have to go into the proposal, I would assume. So, it's not the fault of that person that it's storming when the road conditions are bad, so my inclination would be to say yes. But there again, I don't know how the school handles it. I assume the teachers still get paid if they don't have to come in. I don't know if the janitors make it. Or
Bus drivers?
Bus drivers get paid because we have a contract for the amount that we get paid per year.
Okay.
So then, if we miss a day, it doesn't matter to us, we sleep in, there's no difference.
It's always been that state, it's always stated, because I drove a school bus for 25 years, and I never lost a day bad weather, because I couldn't walk with my boat.
They don't, I don't know that they call the road commission normally, we call our transportation director, now he may speak
That's
with
the
the
one
road
always,
commission.
we always have.
And Larry Assenberg usually, he's out driving trucks before we do.
Okay, Sharon decides, Bill just said, so
That's who decides whether ours closed or not.
I would
I
think,
get my word from Larry.
and I would think that the superintendent would still have some
Yeah, he does.
authority to override,
He does.
so.
But that's where he gets his information, sharing.
So that was my final item in the report, I couldn't remember what I talked about, so. And back to action items, approve recommendation for vacant seat on the council. We received 4 interested parties. We had a difficult time because I thought all 4 would do a very good job. And based on what I see our future holding as far as our building and construction is concerned. At this point in time, I thought Lyle Lovelace would be the best choice for us. I do need, that's my recommendation, I do need to receive a motion and support and a vote by the council to approve that.
I'll make the motion.
I'll support. Oops, go.
And Bill said it first.
That's all right, he can have it.
Okay. Any further discussion? Since there is one person here that was interested in that, and that being Corey. Given the work that you've done in the community for the DDA and all the other items, I appreciate that, but I felt just at this point in time, this is the way we needed to go. So there's probably at some point down the road, another vacancy. And certainly don't be discouraged by this. So, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion has carried. Old business, office lease. I did speak with the attorney who didn't speak back, he bowed out. So we're left with the signing the lease. We can change it to a month-to-month basis. I heard from Stan Bean since, and they're willing to do that. They have not suggested anything else. I do need to apologize to the township because last month I said the snow removal by us on the parking lot out here was not in the lease, and I missed it the first time I read it, and it is there. So the purchasing of gas from us is not in there, but they do that as well. So I guess we have to make a decision as to what we really want to do.
We anticipate putting the building up, right? Within the near future.
Well,
Have everyone here on this board talked to many people about this? You know, like, every chance you could get, or just kind of brought it up because the ones who I have, not many are, yay, let's build a new building. They're all like, why is this happening? Can't you renegotiate the lease? You know, that's not what Mr. and Mrs. Davis built this building for. How come the village and township can't work together? It looks bad, so I'm kind of, you know, I know we left last meeting, we're gonna put up a new building, but now I'm kind of disturbed thinking that people aren't.
Most everybody that I've talked to in the barbershop since the article came out, township and village residents, was very upset. They thought the same thing. They thought this building was built for the community, not for the township to dictate how much we're gonna pay to stay here. Most people said, you guys need to sit down with the supervisor and whoever and try to renegotiate this because it's a one-year contract. All the other times we've had 5-year contracts, now they're giving us a 1. So I don't think that it's gonna go real well for what they did to us. And to just spring it on us and say, okay, here's your new contract, and not even to warn us that they were gonna double that rent. I think it's wrong, personally.
I talked
It
to
is wrong.
Supervisor Stan Bean there the other day, and he indicated that he wouldn't change the contract to monthly if we want, and that he was still open to negotiation.
I think we should wait until he gets back and
So
negotiate.
he didn't say that he would do anything less, but he would like to negotiate. I think probably
I think we
Larry's
need to
the.
try to work together here a little bit.
well, I agree with Brian. I think we ought to wait until Stan does come back so we can meet face face rather than Skyping or texting or emailing or whatever, so.
When is our current lease up?
The end of this month.
April 1.
So
April 1's and
what will the new rent be per month? What is that?
700.
700?
700 a month.
All right. So either way, we're gonna pay the 700 for now, while, lack of a better term, negotiations are ongoing, right?
I think that's probably what will happen, or we'll-
Okay.
either that or we will delay payment until
I think we
we
should
come to
delay.
life.
Delay payment.
Okay.
We still have one problem, we have a police department that wants to be
Don't-
out.
Didn't we pay the rent yearly anyways?
Yeah, it was a one payment.
Scott would have to kick us out.
But if it's
You have
month to
to
month,
pick us.
I'll be moving before I kick you guys out.
if it's month to month, we only have to pay month to month.
He needs a separate place, and we all know that. He has no privacy there when he has to deal with people.
Well, what we have to look at is the financial end of it.
Right.
Can we afford to keep half the people here and move the law enforcement somewhere else? Financially, can we do that? Do we have the money?
We can find out.
Putting the money into the pole barn by the DPW would be much less expensive than building us a brand new building.
If it was just for Scott.
Yeah.
Personally, I think we should wait.
Okay. I don't have a problem with that.
I think so too, even if we pay a month, we're not gonna be out of here a month.
No,
So if we pay that first month and we can negotiate a better deal, then
Well, I had like 20 people make
Nothing lost.
responses to me, and none of them were like, yay, let's build a new building, so my rosy feeling is.
Well, did you ask those people too if they wanted their rent doubled too? How did you present it to them? Well, you could present it several different ways and get the answer you
I
want.
just asked a question, I asked, do you
Yeah.
want to renegotiate? Do you want to build a new building, or do you want to move into an old building?
Or do you want to pay $8,000 a year to have your rent doubled? That was the other question. See, when you present it as for $8,000 a year, what could we get for our $8,000 a year over 25 years? So you have to, I think we have to look at long-term as well.
Maybe we should do a survey amongst the people
So-
and kind of see what they think.
I can write a survey any way you want, and I can get you the results you want.
Well,
I-
I
that-
think
I'm
we need a
honest
lot
to
more
God.
input than what, my 20 people or
So,
what's going.
I just think we have to make sure that everybody knows every minutia of information that there's lack of communication, A, B, rent is doubled, and this is where we're at right now, and we're going month to month.
I don't think most people elected us
To make that decision.
Well, I agree with
to
that,
do
Bill, but
the-
I'm saying
to
that if
know
there's
all of these
something we can
individual
do to help
details and-
people understand what's
and then
going on.
it's up to us
that's proper.
to, after we've weighed all the options and the details and in knowing that, then make a recommendation to the public and make it publicly present
I
to the
agree, but I'm just saying that it can't hurt to get some more input from people, that's all.
Since
No,
that
that would be part of if we do or when we decide to,
Right.
or,
there again, you're right, though, we
for
were
the
elected,
people who elected us
us
to
to
do
do the
that,
job.
do that work and then let them know.
Since that article came out, most people didn't even know
No.
until they read it in the paper. And then they're like, wow. what-
People I talked to had no idea that we were paying
We
anything
pay
for
rent.
using this.
Exactly, they thought it was a Central Lake bill.
This building, we've been in here 20 years. We've never negotiated taking care of the parking lot, even though we buy new equipment, we buy maintenance of that equipment that's used out here. That's never been negotiated. Or suggested that our costs have gone up in that service that we provide them. So, those are part of the issues for negotiation as far as I'm concerned. It doesn't, staying here doesn't resolve Scott's desire to have his own space. But building new,
I think you guys